Have you ever walked out of a movie theater and felt like the world just looked a little different? Or maybe you found yourself thinking about a character days later, almost like you actually knew them. We all get lost in movies, but what's really going on there? Why do these stories on a screen have such a deep, profound hold on us? Well, let's break down the hidden psychology at work. This really gets to the heart of it. The power of a film isn't just about a 2-hour escape. It's about this subtle, almost invisible process that can actually rewire our internal world long after the credits have rolled. So let's pull back the curtain and see exactly how it all happens. So, what's the first big reason for cinema's power? Okay, think of it like a flight simulator, but for our feelings. It creates this totally safe space for us to experience emotions that might be overwhelming or maybe even impossible in our actual lives. I mean, think about it. We get to experience the pure terror of a horror movie, the crushing heartbreak of a doomed romance, or the absolute triumph of an underdog, and we do it all from the safety of a theater seat. It's a controlled environment for us to explore our emotions, kind of like a playground for feelings where the consequences aren't real. And what's so fascinating is that this taps directly into our fundamental psychology. We are literally built to learn by doing, by practicing. Well, cinema just hijacks this ancient wiring. It gives us these super efficient, emotionally charged simulations that our brain treats as a real experience, a way of learning how to feel. But there's another really important part of the simulation. See, our brains are hardwired to find patterns in all the noise of the world. It's a survival thing. The problem? Real life is often totally random, chaotic, and unresolved. Stories, on the other hand, they're clean. This is exactly what our brains crave. A movie gives us a clear beginning, a middle, and an end. It shows us that actions have consequences. And, maybe most importantly, it delivers a conclusion that feels meaningful. It brings a narrative order that reality so often denies us. And that satisfies this deep psychological need we all have for things to just make sense. Okay, so we've got this simulator that organizes chaos. But how does the story actually make the jump from the screen into our own minds? Well, it happens through this crucial bridge that gets built between us and the character on screen. Right, because watching a film is not a passive activity. It's an active process of psychological merging. We don't just observe the main character from a distance. For a little while, we become them. We start to see the world through their eyes and feel the stakes as if they were our own. And this is no accident. Filmmakers have this powerful toolkit to make sure we identify with the characters. A point of view shot literally puts us right in their shoes. An emotional close-up forces us to confront their feelings face to face, which triggers our own empathy. And that guiding musical score? It's telling us exactly what to feel, moment by moment, syncing our heartbeat right up with the story. And here's the big shift. Once we identify with a character, the story's influence is no longer something that's happening to us. It's happening inside of us. The character's choices, their fears, their big wins, they start to feel like our own memories. That external message becomes a deeply internal experience. Now, this process doesn't just happen with one single film. Let's zoom out a bit and see what happens when these internal experiences are repeated across thousands of movies. The line between the stories we watch and the reality we live in, well, it starts to get a little blurry. It really does follow a clear path. A story trope, like the meet cute in a rom-com or the training montage for a hero, gets introduced. Then it gets repeated so many times that it becomes a cultural shortcut. We instantly know what it means, and eventually that shortcut starts to actually shape our expectations for love, for success, and even for justice in the real world. And this works so incredibly well because cinema is perfectly designed to fill in the gaps that reality leaves behind. Our lives? They're often messy, but films give us those clear arcs. Our experiences can feel meaningless, but films give us meaningful conclusions. And the real world often lacks justice, but movies, in the end, almost always deliver it. So ultimately, cinema's influence is strongest where our real-world needs are the greatest. It gives us the closure, the validation, and that sense of justice we might be missing. It's not just entertainment. It's a form of psychological nourishment. And that, right there, gives it immense power. So when you bring all of these threads together, the emotional simulation, the narrative order, that deep identification, you start to realize that this isn't just a series of happy accidents. It's a perfect psychological fit. Which brings us to the ultimate takeaway.
The power of cinema isn't some kind of magical external force. It's powerful because it's a technology built in perfect alignment with our own psychological wiring. It works with the grain of how our minds already operate, and that's what makes its influence feel so natural, so seamless, and so incredibly deep.
So the next time you watch a movie, maybe ask yourself, what needs is this story fulfilling for me right now? What parts of myself do I see in these characters? Because if cinema is a mirror reflecting our collective psychology, it's also a very personal one, showing us parts of ourselves we might not otherwise get to see.